How old are you?
6.
Let me see your hair. Turn around, even. Ooh.
Got a plan for me. And that's the reason why I keep going through all of this shit. Because he keep putting me through the test. When is the test gonna be over, bro? I just want it to be over with. I hate the way I think. I hate the way I see things. And all I do is sit back and try to just act like I don't see shit. Because if I do something about it, I'm going to jail. I'm the one getting in trouble. I just want to know, what's the real purpose for me to be here, man?
If you're following the story of Kei'Mani Latigue, then you know that Kei'Mani was just 13 years old when her body was found in an abandoned home in Toledo, Ohio on March the 24th, 2025. Now, sadly, it's believed that her father, Darnell Jones, is responsible for her passing. Now, according to authorities, her grandmother and legal guardian, Dorothy Latigue, went to work. She came home from work on the morning of March the 17th, and she discovered the house to be in disarray. Now, although she came home from work on March the 17th, Kei'Mani was not reported missing to authorities until March the 18th. When the report was made to the authorities, they did not issue an Amber Alert for Kei'Mani, and they said it was because it was not initially, there was no foul play that was suspected. It was not suspected that this was a criminal investigation. For whatever reason, it was believed that Kei'Mani may have ran away from home. As the investigation progressed over the week, her father, Darnell Jones, is believed to have provided inconsistent statements to authorities. If you haven't heard the background on that, you can check out the other videos on my page. Now, today I do want to get into, there was a funeral that was to be planned for Kei'Mani. Unfortunately, the funeral home has now, they're going to move her services to a new funeral home. Now, before I play the video from the victim of the funeral home director, he did release a video. I do want to get into, remember Darnell Jones, his girlfriend at the time. She's the one who led police to the key evidence in the case. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. I do have another video on my page. Now, Darnell Jones' girlfriend, they do share at least one child together. I don't know how many other kids they share together, but they do have at least one child together. Her sister has come out and has publicly asked for the harassment against her sister to stop. Now, there is someone who allegedly leaked the area of where her residence was at. Based on this, her sister has been getting harassed, and her sister, again, it's Darnell's girlfriend. It's her sister that has come out and publicly asked for the harassment against the girlfriend to stop. And she said, "Where's my sister's apology? All you know, that is threatening to her house, leaking her address to drive by her house knowing she had children in the home, pointing fingers when clearly she helped get the man behind the bars. Radio silence." That is the sister. She's asking for the harassment against her sister to stop. In addition to the sister asking for the harassment to stop against her sister has kids with another man. That man has stepped up, and he's also requesting for the harassment to stop. Now, listen, he also drops a bomb, and he says that Darnell confessed to her that Dorothy was involved in Kei'Mani's case. Now, this is alleged to be messages between him and someone else on Facebook Messenger, and they uploaded the messages, and this is from, his account. And the messages go, they would have never unalived him because I needed a confession. Why he would need a confession, that's a little strange that he would be saying he needed confession. Then the person says, what you mean you need? He said, needed a confession. And then they say, like, why are you involved in this? And then he tries to call them and they didn't answer the call. You guys know we're in technology days where people want you to message them so that they can screenshot for these purposes. So that he tried to call them and they didn't answer, and they replied and said they're in the tub. And then he clarifies his role in this, and he says, that's my baby mom, baby father's boyfriend. So what he's saying is that, the mother of his kids and Darnell girlfriend is the same woman. And then of course Darnell and her share a child together. So he's letting them know that that's the relationship. So here's where you need to pay attention. In this, as the conversation goes on, the person says to them, after he clarifies the role, he then goes on to explain that the only reason why the police found Darnell is because of Darnell's girlfriend. He says that Darnell was calling the girlfriend and she wasn't answering, and it was detectives who told her to answer the phone and get as much information as she can so that they can find him. As you recall, Darnell, after he committed the horrific crime against his daughter, he fled to people's phone. The detective told her not to tell anybody what was going on or any leads so they couldn't tip him off. I'm over here right now at her house because they keep threatening to come over and up the house on social media, and I ain't letting that slide. Then the person says that Granny had a part in it as well. Now, here's another part that you have to pay attention to. He explains, he said, it's crazy that you said that, because he had called and he was talking to her and she was trying to keep him on the phone long enough to get a confession, and he said she had something to do with it, but the recorder that she had on her phone didn't catch it because she didn't turn on the recorder, but the cops were getting recordings from her and she was only doing what the detectives told her to do, and people keep popping up trying to get answers, and the way in the house they keep trying to say she has something to do with it, but I'm over here with her since about Sunday. She ain't hide nobody in here, she ain't hid no evidence, nothing like that. They're just making up storylines. They really don't know what's going on. And then the person replies and says, well, please stay safe. And then he said, I'm going to try, but I'm not going to let nobody come over here, and my kids are over here. So keep in mind that what he just revealed is that Darnell told the mother of his child that Kei'Mani's grandmother was involved in it. Apparently, she was trying to record the phone conversation, but she thought she was recording it. She wasn't, as I just discussed. But Darnell revealed to her that Dorothy had something to do with Kei'Mani's case. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that this is valid? Do you believe that Dorothy had something to do with it? Of course, this is from the girlfriend of Darnell. This is from her children's father's social media account. I've removed his picture, of course, because I don't want to put the information out there, but it is, messages from him. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Of course, we know Kei'Mani was just 13 years old when she was unalived, and she already had endured so much during her short time of life. Now, after her passing, she can't even get her funeral timely done because allegedly the funeral home director, before he transferred the services, it was revealed that he pled guilty in 2008 to no contest. He pled no contest to charges that he encouraged young men to have relationships with other men for money. He was found guilty. Now, this was back in 2008, but it states that at that time he was the associate minister at Friendship Baptist Church, and that's where police said that he met some of his victims in the church. Now, he did speak out at that time, Richard Brown, and he said his illegal activity ended in 2001 before he built his relationship with God. Now, one of his victims did come forward and speak out about why Kei'Mani services does not need to occur there, because as we know, Darnell Jones, her alleged father, is also accused of assaulting Kei'Mani. So he said the same person that you're going to trust to bury her is the same person who assaulted me. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
To just expose him, not out of spite, not following the trend or anything, but just, I believe it's time to make his name known, and not in a good way. Make his name known so that all who are victimized by him, or who were victimized by him, that you're not alone, that there's someone here for you, that is someone here in your corner, that you are not crazy, that if no one else believe you, I believe you, because it happened to me. And I want to share my story, and I want to blow his name up. And so everyone will know not to trust him, not to do business with him, not to just...
Now, one of the things that have came out in this case is, why was Kei'Mani left in the house overnight while her grandmother, Dorothy, who is also her legal guardian, went to work? Some people have said, well, 13 is an age where you can leave a child in the house by themselves as long as they're mature to do so. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Now, a lady who identified herself as Kei'Mani's aunt, and she had pictures and videos, and the video that I played in the introduction, it actually came from her. She states that Kei'Mani did not have the mentality of a 13-year-old child, so Kei'Mani should have not been left in the house by herself. And she said how Dorothy is portraying Kei'Mani on the internet is, and in her interviews, is the opposite of how Kei'Mani was. What are you guys' thoughts? Now, this is what she posted on her account. She said, I am absolutely being for the people when I post about my niece. I want the people to see and know Kei'Mani grew up on love. She wasn't just a foster kid. She was our family. We may not have been related by blood, but we were all connected by love, and I speak for everyone. So although she referred to Kei'Mani as her niece, and she said Kei'Mani was there when she gave birth to her child, she said Kei'Mani's not related to her by niece, but from her perspective, but blood couldn't have made them closer. Now, this is what she says I need you guys to pay attention to. She said her grandmother failed her. It was never safe or smart to leave Kei'Mani by herself. Kei'Mani's mental is not like a 13-year-old. Her grandmother lied. Her grandmother described her as the opposite of how she really is in that interview. Why lie? What happened to Kei'Mani? Now, this was, of course, before Kei'Mani's body was tragically found in the abandoned house on March the 24th. She posted this on March the 21st. But it gives an insight to how others described Kei'Mani's mentality to be. And while some people may have been outraged that Kei'Mani was even left in the home overnight, which is how Darnell, her alleged father, had access to Kei'Mani, because he probably knew that Kei'Mani was staying in the house overnight. And then, of course, you know that he initially lied and said Kei'Mani called him and said she was scared. And he said he went over to the house with the cousin, and then the cousin allegedly has been questioned, but he's not believed to be a suspect at this time. So what are you guys' thoughts about this? Now, I do want to show this photo. This is a photo of Kei'Mani, and Kei'Mani is at Darnell's girlfriend's house, the girlfriend that led police to the evidence. Now, this was taken back in 2022, but as you can see in the photo, it's Darnell Jones, his girlfriend, the one who led police to the evidence, and then Kei'Mani is there in the photo. Now, people were speaking out online saying, well, where's the surveillance footage from the night that this occurred? But this photo, although it resurfaced, is from 2022. It's not a recent photo, but it shows Darnell and Kei'Mani, together. So I don't know if Darnell would get Kei'Mani and take Kei'Mani over to the girlfriend's house, if the grandmother entrusted him because she thought that it was the biological father. What are you guys' thoughts about this? I know there's been speculation about whether or not Darnell is indeed the father, and that's been discussed in my last video. Now, what I'm going to also play is there is a interview from Kei'Mani's mom. Now, this was done on a social media, panel where her mom went and spoke out. The significance of this is because a lot of people are questioning, why was Kei'Mani in the care of her grandmother and not the care of her mother? Well, her mother clarifies that Kei'Mani never came home with her after Kei'Mani was born from the hospital. According to the mother, the state ruled her to be medically unfit to take Kei'Mani, and you'll hear this in the interview. And in addition to this, she says that Kei'Mani was first in state custody, and then around the time that Kei'Mani was about 1.5 years old, Kei'Mani went with her godmother. And her godmother had custody of Kei'Mani until that custody was later transferred to the grandmother. The grandmother said that she's had Kei'Mani for the last 5 years, but she did not become the guardian until the last year. But Kei'Mani has been, bounced around from several homes, and custody has been transferred. Now, the godmother who had Kei'Mani before she gave her back to the grandmother, she has been getting harassed and she's been getting threats. Someone has came out and they said that she is the niece of Kei'Mani's godmother. Remember, she's the one that had custody of Kei'Mani. And she said, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. My auntie don't have nothing to do with none of this. So y'all want to go down storyline to tell family business. She don't owe no explanation for nothing. When a person know how Kei'Mani was in my auntie's custodies, people are liar. Redirect y'all energy, because all of this, because over this one we not gonna play that on my mom. Yes, everybody knew about Kei'Mani, but what can we do if we telling the system? But what can we do if we tell in the system if it's in their hands? Nothing we can do. Point fingers where they need to be, flat out. Now, someone on that post said, who's your auntie? And then she said, not the granny. My auntie is the godmother. And then she said, the person said, okay, I haven't heard a lot about the godmother. And she said, well, if you've been following the case, you have. So the godmother who took custody of Kei'Mani, of course, is getting, threats directed towards her because of the information. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Now, I haven't seen any direct threats towards the godmother, but I'm pretty sure some are circulating, out there. But what are you guys' thoughts? Now I'm going to play the interview from Kei'Mani's biological mom. And this interview was done a couple of days ago. So this was done after Kei'Mani's body had been discovered. Darnell is in custody. She's aware of the manner of how her daughter was found. A lot of people are, giving opinions about her demeanor, about why she is doing interviews, and she's going to address that here.
Medical records with my baby's midwife and my doula's number, all of that good stuff. I brought them my lease. I brought them the title to my car. I brought them W-2s from all of my jobs to try to prove to them that the things that were being told about me were false. And the last time I gave it to them was during what calls a staff meeting. I gave it to them the last time in that staff meeting, and they tore it up in my face and threw it in the trash and continued on with the meeting like nothing had happened. So
but you said she never went home with you though, right? She never got a chance to go home. You just gave birth to her.
No, they took her from the hospital.
Okay, so my next question, I don't want to hold you into, too long. I know you got a lot to do and you're busy right now. I understand. So they took her from you. Now, during this time that when they took her from you, the first person that she went with was the godmother, correct?
Yeah, they gave the godmother. They gave my godmother kinship care over my daughter when she was a year and a half.
Okay. And how long did she stay with the godmother?
I'm not exactly sure. I believe she stayed there solely up until she was like 5 or 6, and then they started bouncing her back and forth between the two.
Okay, so this basically lines up with what the grandmother, how the grandmother said that she was there off and on for about 5 years. Would that be fair to say?
My daughter's about to be 14 tomorrow. No. No, that's still not accounting for, that's accounting for like 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so that timeline is just a little bit conflicted. Okay, so during this time of her being there, how many years did you fight for your daughter after she was born?
Oh, I've always fought. Hey, I'm on the phone. No, do not open that door. No. You want to go out there? You can go out there and play if you want to. But I can't have you playing in here. But no, I've always fought for my daughter. I've fought for my daughter since the day that I had her.
Give me 1 second. I pressed the button. I'm sorry. So say that again, because I pressed my mixer. My apologies. Say that one more time for me.
I said I've always been fighting for my daughter. That fight has never ended. In June, my mother was supposed to be signing a third-party custody transfer so that I could get my baby back, because she said that she did not want her anymore. She said my daughter was stealing, my daughter was lying. I don't know that any of that is factual, and I don't believe it. But she said that my daughter was doing a whole bunch of stuff, and she just couldn't take it anymore. She wanted me to get my daughter. We were supposed to be going to court for that, to give me custody of my daughter back, because every place that I've had, I've always had space for my daughter. I've always made sure I had means to take care of.
Right. So this abuse, what do you know about this abuse? Because one thing that I'm noticing is that there's a fair consensus from multiple family members that she was getting hit on by the grandmother. Did you know anything about this, and how long did you know, and what steps did you take outside of, fighting for custody?
My mother and my did a very good job of as far away from my daughter as they could. I think that was so that they would be able to do what it was that they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it. Again, I still have my parental rights, but because they are guardian, because they are custodian, if they don't give me the go ahead, I can't do anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, did you hear about the abuse? Like, how did you know anything about the abuse that the grandmother was doing?
I didn't hear about the abuse until the only thing that I've seen, because I've never even seen my mother hit my daughter, other than like a spoon, like a wooden spoon to her hand. I haven't witnessed any of that, and I think that was for a reason.
Okay, and she is your biological mother, because that was in question as well, correct?
That is my biological mother, unfortunately. How they ended up, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all are so loud. I cannot even think straight. Can y'all please? That's why I said go out there and play with them, so that they can scream and yell and holler as much as they want. Baby, my head, it's a lot of stuff going on in my head. I cannot focus. Can y'all please step out? Please. I'm not trying to be mean to y'all, but I need y'all out. Please. Go. I'm sorry.
Listen, you're okay. I'm a mother. I don't care about none of that. You do you. It's okay. Go ahead.
Well, is there any other questions?
No, I was saying as far as
I got it.
No, I was saying as far as the abuse and things of that nature. You said that you didn't know anything about it. You just knew about the spoon and stuff like that. That's what you was explaining.
anything. The only thing I've ever seen my mother do to my daughter was hit her with the spoon. But I've recently met a bunch of my family that I didn't know existed, and they didn't know I existed. Apparently, they've been trying to figure out where this light skinned baby came from.
Wow.
But just meeting them, and they have stories on top of stories on top of stories. People that have lived with my mother for months or years on end are telling me what they've witnessed. So
what are you guys' thoughts after hearing from Kei'Mani's biological mother? Again, what she said was that she never had custody of Kei'Mani. The custody was taken from her when Kei'Mani was born. So what she said in that interview is Kei'Mani actually never came home with her. You know, she went straight to the state. Subsequently, the care of Kei'Mani was transferred to the godmother, who Kei'Mani remained with the godmother until she went to the grandma. And then, according to her, some of her family, she only most recently met. And then her family, after Kei'Mani's passing, has been telling her stories about what they witnessed, what they experienced. What are you guys' thoughts about the biological mother? A lot of people are saying too little, too late. You know, you're coming here now. Where were you? But as she explained, custody was taken away. So if custody was taken away from her because the state saw that she was unfit, but the grandmother was allowing her to have visits, whether that was allowed by the state, you know, in the custody agreement, unsure at this time, but the grandmother was allowed to have letting her have visits, because in the prior, interview, the same interview, she said, well, she still had her parental rights. She was paying child support. And that video is on my page if you haven't checked that out. And so if she still had her parental rights, according to her, and because she was still paying child support, but she was expecting to take custody back of Kei'Mani in June, people are still saying, well, you should have did something sooner. But what she's saying is she was unaware that this was going on. Now, a lot of people have called BS on that, saying if Kei'Mani was showing up to school with bruises and webs, and the mother said the only time that she witnessed abuse, well, she saw, something occur, is when she saw her mother hit Kei'Mani with a wooden spoon. What are you guys' thoughts about this so far? Do you guys believe that the mother was aware that abuse was occurring and she turned the side eye? Do you guys think that maybe she didn't know and she just thought that that was normal discipline? Now, you know that Dorothy, which is Kei'Mani's grandmother, previously spoke out about Child Protective Services coming into the home on various occasions. Child Protective Services spoke out. They released a statement and they said they did come in the home. They didn't find enough evidence to remove Kei'Mani, but what they did was they gave Dorothy proper discipline techniques on how to discipline Kei'Mani, because it was reported that Kei'Mani was a child that had behavior issues. Now, to the extent that's unknown, but the grandmother is saying, yes, I disciplined her, but it was appropriate. Now, I want to play this interview from her grandmother. And the reason why I want to play this portion of the interview is because, did you guys pick up in this interview, she says Kei'Mani was a virgin and that Kei'Mani didn't like boys. A lot of people have been criticizing, why would she say that Kei'Mani was a virgin and she didn't like boys? Like, what would be the significance of that? A lot of this has been called into question. Then she's going to talk about, Kei'Mani overall. But I also want to say that the cousin, the reason why I'm playing this is because not the cousin, but the aunt, the lady that's come out and identified herself as Kei'Mani's aunt, she says Kei'Mani is the opposite of how Dorothy is describing her to be. So this is the reason why, I want to play this.
Around her. Can you expand on that? Is there family members that weren't allowed around her?
No, it's just not very many that came around, and those that did, she acted, as far as I'm concerned, she acted accordingly. She embraced all children, bad or good. Okay, next question.
So now we do know that Darnell, people are looking for Darnell Jones right now. The police are looking for Darnell Jones, and there's an arrest warrant out for him. Do you have any idea of his whereabouts?
Oh, well, to my knowledge, he was just arrested in Columbus. He just recently had a shootout with the police in Columbus. They're saying that he confessed to her murder, and no, I take that back. They're saying that he confessed to her rape and slitting her throat.
How does it feel to learn that?
I can't even say.
You know, as the police report mentions, Kei'Mani was last seen with Darnell. You know, do you have any regrets of letting Kei'Mani go with, as you're her guardian, do you have any regrets of letting Kei'Mani go with Darnell?
I do, only because, like I said, I feel deceived. I feel like this was pre-planned. I feel like you meant to do this. I feel like you was grooming her.
When you say grooming her, is there things that you saw before this leading
No,
up?
I never saw anything out the ordinary. But when molesters decide to choose prey, they groom you first. So they give you gifts. They try and make you comfortable with them. They try and say little things to you that you and they can keep secret, and then eventually they pounce. And that's how I feel that oh God, how all of this is played out, I feel that's what happened. She was a virgin. She didn't like boys.
There's also comments, and we're just trying to address those and get those addressed, but there's comments online and speculation again that, you know, Kei'Mani, her home situation, she was abused. What do you have to say to that?
Okay, abuse in whose eyes? Because she was not abused. Yes, she was chastised whenever she was wrong or did things wrong. Other than that, she was not abused. She was not just whooped for no reason or just because I felt like it. I've went through this twice because the school system had contacted CSB on her behalf when she went to Bennett Academy. And they came in, they did a case study and closed it. They've stated there's a way to chastise children without physically harming them, and you need to whoop them on their behind, nowhere else. So, okay, with that in mind, I knew that. So she didn't have like bruises all over.
How long ago was that when they came into your home?
I would say the latest, it was approximately 7 months ago.
And so you say the latest. So was it a few times that they came into your home?
It was twice total.
So twice total that they came into your home and checked. Okay. And it was all for like you mentioned, what you just said earlier.
Yes.
Explaining. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in terms...
Listen to Kei'Mani's grandmother as she explains that Darnell is currently in police custody. Although he was involved in a shootout, he is expected to survive. He has given a confession to the authorities. Listen to what she says he confessed to. Additionally, she shuts down social media claims that Kei'Mani was abused, and she says she regrets allowing Kei'Mani to go with Darnell. Listen to it.
Expand on that. Is there family members that weren't allowed around her?
No, it's just not very many that came around, and those that did, you know, she acted, as far as I'm concerned, she acted accordingly. She embraced all children, bad or good. Okay, next question.
So now we do know that Darnell, you know, people are looking for Darnell Jones right now. The police are looking for Darnell Jones, and there's an arrest warrant out for him. Do you have any idea of his whereabouts?
Oh, well, to my knowledge, he was just arrested in Columbus. He just recently had a shootout with the police in Columbus. They're saying that he confessed to her murder, and no, I take that back. They're saying that he
And do you have any regrets of letting Kei'Mani go with Darnell?
I do, I do, only because, like I said, I feel deceived. I feel like this was pre-planned. I feel like you meant to do this. I feel like you was grooming her.
When you say grooming her, is there things that you saw before this leading
No,
up?
I never saw anything out the ordinary. But say little things to you that you and they can keep secret, and then eventually they pounce. And that's how I feel that oh God, how all of this is played out, I feel that's what happened. She was a virgin. She didn't like boys.
There's also comments, and we're just trying to address those and get those addressed, but there's comments online and speculation again that, you know, Kei'Mani, her home situation, she was abused. What do you have to say to that?
Okay, abuse in whose eyes? Because she was not abused. Yes, she was chastised whenever she was wrong or did things wrong. Other than that, she was not abused. She was not just whooped for no reason or just because I felt like it. I've went through this twice because the school system had contacted CSB on her behalf when she went to Bennett Academy. And they came in, they did a case study and closed it. They've stated there's a way to chastise children without physically harming them, and you need to whoop them on their behind, nowhere else. So, okay, with that in mind, I knew that. So she didn't have like bruises all over.
How long ago was that when they came into your home?
I would say the latest, it was approximately 7 months ago.
And so you say the latest. So was it a few times that they came into your home?
It was twice total.
So twice total that they came into your home. Check, okay. And it was offered.
I'm not mad. So much stress, so much anger, and I'm just trying to do the right thing. I pray, I read my Bible, I try to help out people the best as I can, and I'm just not feeling this. It ain't financial or none of that, bro, if you thinking that's what it is. It's nothing like that. It's just something mental. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through something mentally and physically fucked up with me. I ain't been feeling the same. Ain't nothing wrong, man. Just, I don't know. There's a lot of shit that's on my chest that I can't control. It ain't, like, I don't know how to explain it, man. All I gotta do is just keep trying to stay good, be good, man. That's all. I ain't get on here to have nobody show sympathy, nothing, or anything. It's just so much shit happens to people out here, and nobody know what really the real stories be. So, you know, I just get on here, try to let people know what's going on. If you care, you care. It's just something mental. I just want a hug, y'all. Give me a hug. A hug would be wonderful.
Yeah, we need a cart. We need a cart. Cart. Darnell, stay with me, bro. Keep talking to me, okay? Dave, 511. If anyone is listening at home, officer support. Sit here, legs, arms. Which way do you want his head? Here. Right there? Okay. Up! You need him out of the